What's up, everybody? It's your boy, James Borche, CEO of Circle Urban Ministries, and welcome back to another virtual chapel. We're in the month of February, so it's the month of love. And so this month, we're going to be dealing with relationship topics and love topics like never before. And this virtual chapel is probably one of the most important virtual chapels I've ever done. It's also one of my favorite topics. The topic is, what's the single most important thing you need to know about you before you get into any relationship? So whether you're single, you're dating, you're married, you're at work, any relationship whatsoever, this is the single most important thing you need to know. So without further ado, here goes. The single most important thing you need to know about relationships or about yourself before you get into a relationship is, what is your attachment style? And see, without going into the full history of attachment styles, let me break there are four main attachment styles that you can be. Number one, you can be secure, you can be anxious, you can be avoidant, or you can be fearful avoidant. That's secure, anxious, avoidant, or fearful avoidant. So let's talk about it. The first one is secure. A secure attachment style means that you are free and open to trust in a relationship. You're free and open to have close intimacy with one another, with your spouse or with your mate, with your coworker. You're okay to connect. You can fully connect in a relationship. Believe it or not, only about 50% of the world has a secure attachment style where they are free to fully connect, fully engage, and have full intimacy. That's number one. That's the first one. The second one, though, is anxious. Now, what do I mean by anxious? That a person with an anxious attachment style, you ever met a person where if they text you at 10 o'clock and you don't respond by 10:03, they're blowing your phone up? You ever been in a relationship with a person who you just had to constantly tell them, yeah, baby, I love you. Oh, yes, you're the best. Oh, yeah, baby, I love you. That person has what's called an anxious attachment style. See, an anxious attachment style is someone who needs to be constantly reassured, constantly validated, or they will feel like the relationship is going to end. And see, these types of attachment styles come to play, and they begin when a person is as early as 7 months old. See, when a baby cries or when a baby has a need in that early onset, and that need is not met, the child creates in his or her mind the reason why this need is not met. And so a person with an anxious attachment style has told him or herself that my needs may or may not get met. Their needs as a child were met inconsistently, very inconsistently. So we got secure, we got anxious. Now I should say this, every attachment style besides secure is based on insecurities, is an insecure attachment style. Each one of them, so anxious, the avoidant, and the fearful avoidant, is all an insecure attachment style. So we've got secure, we did anxious, the next one is avoidant. The word speaks for itself. And a person with an avoidant attachment style, they avoid attachments altogether. You ever try your hardest to get close to somebody, to really get to know them, but no matter what, they blocked it? They avoided you like the plague? That person may have an avoidant attachment style. A person with an avoidant attachment style just avoids attaching themselves or connecting intimately with someone altogether. So you hear people saying things like, all men are dogs, all women are these, and all men are that, or all women are this, and women are crazy, men are that. Those people, I don't need a man, I don't need a woman. Yeah, those people typically have an avoidant attachment style. They just avoid attaching themselves altogether. And that comes when a child's needs are not met and they determine that I don't need my needs met. And so they determine that their needs are not important enough to get met. And so they just avoid needing altogether. And the last one is the fearful avoidant. This one is probably one of the most difficult people to be in a relationship with, because a fearful avoidant desperately, and I mean desperately, wants to attach, wants to have closeness, wants to have intimacy with someone, but they're afraid. So being in a relationship with someone who is a fearful avoidant, they pull you close, they push you back. They pull you close, then they push you back. Then they pull you close, then they push you back. You ever been in a relationship with somebody you felt like you in a yo-yo? You felt like you on a roller coaster? Yeah. You might have been dating somebody with a fearful, avoidant attachment style. So they desperately want the intimacy. They desperately want the closeness, but they're terrified of it. And so the moment you get really, really close, or you try to get really close, they push you back. They fear the vulnerability that intimacy and closeness takes. And see, most of us, throughout our lives, one of the most important things in relationships is intimacy, it's closeness, it's vulnerability. That's one of the most important things in our lives. And a fearful avoidant wants it, but avoids it. Wants it, but avoids it. So let's recap. Number one, it's secure. You're open, you're free, you're willing to have a close, attached relationship. Number two is anxious. Oh my gosh, you want an attached relationship, but you're so insecure about the relationship that any signs of distance will cause panic or anxiety, will cause someone to be anxious. Avoidant is somebody who they want it, but they've avoided it. I can't be hurt. So they just avoid the closeness, avoid the intimacy altogether. And last but not least is fearful avoidant. And that's the person who desperately wants the intimacy, desperately wants the closeness, but pushes it away like the plague. Desperately wants it, pushes it away like the plague. Now, why is this one of the single most important things you should know about yourself before you get into a relationship? Because your attachment style creates the lens that you see everyone through. Everyone through. Every single relationship. So if all of your relationships end the same way, or if all of your relationships seem to go the same way, that is because you're looking at relationships, or you're looking at connecting through a particular lens. And that lens is clouding your judgment, clouding everything you do. Because of the lens that you look at relationships, or look at people, or look at closeness, or look at intimacy through, it determines how you interact with people. It determines whether you're doing your interactions based on love and fear. Now check this out. There are 4 categories. Only one of them is free to operate based on love. The other 3 is operating based on insecurity or fear. And so in 1 James, I think it's 1 James or 1 John chapter 4, verse 18, it says, love has no fear. Perfect love has no fear. There is no fear in love. And so if you're operating based on fear, if you're interacting based on fear, if you're relating to another person based on fear, you could be the person sabotaging your own relationship. Because intimacy, connection, love was designed to operate on the field that is love. God said, I am love. He also said, I did not give you the spirit of fear. So look in the mirror today and ask yourself, am I operating based on love, or am I operating based on fear? The answer to that question could help you in your next relationships and all the relationships to come. I'm James Borshade. Listen, next week, we're going to break this down into men and women. We're going to be talking about the 4 most important things a man wants in a relationship, but probably isn't going to tell you. The 4 most important thing a man wants in a relationship, probably is not going to tell you. That's a virtual chapel you do not want to miss. I'm James Borshade, Circle Urban Ministries. We love you. God bless. Take care.
Circle Urban Ministries is a community development nonprofit organization working toward the day people in underserved communities have a safe and healthy place to live, learn, and play. Circle provides a 360-degree approach to community development. Here's how. 1. Circle identifies deteriorating and underutilized community assets. 2. Then, Circle partners with other organizations to rehabilitate identified community assets. 3. Circle generates consistent revenue, by renting the rehabilitated asset to nonprofit community partner agencies, who provide a needed community service. 4. Lastly, Circle reinvests the revenue into community programming. Using this business model, Circle is able to provide high-quality, after-school programming for more than 150 youth and teens. A food pantry that serves more than 400 people per month. A crisis intervention program that serves more than 150 people per month. According to census data, the Austin community is home to 97,600 residents. Through various partnerships, Circle's campus serves more than 9,600 individuals a year. That's nearly 10% of all Austin residents. Circle's partners include Catalyst Circle Rock Charter School, which serves 520 scholars each year. Rock Church with more than 100 members. PCC Wellness, who serves more than 7,000 patients each year. And many more. To learn more about Circle Urban Ministries, or to become a partner, call James Borishay, Circle CO, at 708-406-5544.